Hi, lovelies. Welcome back to Melanated Crowns, Activating Your Divine Femininity. So today I wanted to talk about this TONYA TKO situation. She invited another YouTuber onto her platform, and they basically were discussing the whole Kevin Samuels situation, where that clip went viral, where Kevin Samuels was, seen telling a black woman, that she was average at best. Before I get into this video, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and comment below. This helps me get into the algorithm, and it helps more people see my videos. If you would like to book your own counseling session with me, or spiritual advising session, or an intuitive session, information for that will be pinned in the comments as well as the description box. So this conversation between TONYA TKO and this dude was very interesting. I'm purposely not saying his name because I really just did not agree with the way in which he showed up. So I don't want to send any traffic to his page. I'm pretty sure if y'all go and find the video that I'm talking about, you'll be able to see his name. But I'm just personally not going to promote him over here. So they were having a conversation about, they talked about a plethora of things, but I'm going to speak about the things that stood out to me and just, basically expound more on the thoughts that was presented. So the first thing was accountability, right? And they were having an interesting conversation about how, the man that was on her channel basically had took a stance that if you decide to have a child with a man that you know is considered to be low value, low vibrational, etc., and that man walks out, it's basically the woman's fault because you know that this person that you're dating is below your usual standards. You know this person is low value. So why are you surprised when this person does not want to be a father to a child that y'all both made? Now, this conversation came about because in the video of that woman being called average at best or whatever the case may be, she was basically saying that she's a business owner. She makes six figures, but she has a tendency to date down because I don't remember what her reasoning for dating down was. I think what she was saying was she dates down and the men tend to be intimidated by it. So should she be informing the men that she's dating that she's a business owner? So the guy that was on TONYA TKO's page was basically saying, okay, you know that you're dating down. So you're making an intentional decision to date down, to date below your standards, but then you want to complain when you have these negative experiences with them. Now, the interesting thing about this conversation that was happening between the two of them was I agreed with TONYA and the guy. Okay, now where the guy fell short and where we tend to see a lot of men fall short when they have these conversations about relationship dynamics and how a man relates to a woman, woman relates to a man is you don't hold the men accountable. So yes, when it comes to that woman, if you are constantly attracting and allowing low vibrational and low value individuals to stick in your life, that is reflective upon how you feel about yourself. That is reflective upon your subconscious frequency and vibration. In addition to that, to TONYA's point, why are there so many channels in regards to helping black women be the best versions of themselves, giving them suggestive books to read, suggestive cleanses, suggestive daily routines, morning routines, whatever the case may be, mindfulness, meditation, prayer, journaling, therapy, all of these things, exercising. But when we see men talking about relationships, more often than not, it's about what women need to be doing, what black women need to be doing, as opposed to channels where it's actually helping black men heal, helping black women be held, black men be held accountable, helping black men, hold themselves accountable, giving them tools to help them develop as men. We rarely see those. I'm not saying they don't exist. We just rarely see it. And, the dude was gaslighting He didn't really have strong comebacks. He just didn't. Once again, he kept putting most of the blame on the woman. And, it was just like, I sat and watched the whole thing. To me, it wasn't unbearable because I didn't expect much when I went in. But I just found some of the things that he said to be interesting. Another thing that he said that was very interesting was that one of the main problems that he finds that black men have with black women is like, we exude a lot of masculine energy, sometimes more than the man. And TONYA TKO, she came through and she knocked it out the park. She came with stats. She said 40% of young black girls will experience some form of like sexual trauma before, I forgot what age she said, but it was a very young age. So she said, imagine being put in situations before you even get to know certain parts of yourself and your identity as a woman, as a black woman, to where you're losing those parts of yourself before you get to know those parts of yourself. Imagine being in situations where you don't feel protected at home by your father, by your brothers, by your uncles, whatever men that you're being raised around. So you're already subconsciously programmed to go out into the world and be on defense and have to stay on ready, because at home where you're being nurtured, that's what you're being conditioned to do. So when you get out into nature, it's going to be an innate reaction to exude those same qualities. And that resonated with me. I'm the only girl of 4 brothers. And there was a lot of violence in my house growing up and a lot of domestic disputes. And more often than not, I did not feel protected. That, when I would have situations happen, it would be at the hands of my older brother. And my father wouldn't step in and say nothing. He was at work and out the house for 14 hours a day, just about. So I totally understood what TONYA TKO was saying. Like, this is just common sense stuff at this point. I feel like there's so many conversations about how, like, the conditioning and programming that happens at the home, how it gets embedded in us, and then it shows up in other areas of our life, at school, at work, with our friends, and romantic relationships. These are just, connections that, an intelligent person can make. She then went on to say how she seen a documentary about a man, 2 black men that said they wanted to go over to Brazil and date the black women over there because they were more feminine. And she was like, what people fail to realize is this. Y'all want to go outside of the black community and date other women of other races because you find them to be feminine. Okay. But do you understand that these women's abilities to be feminine and rest in their femininity and be soft and delicate is a direct result of the patriarchal system that is set up by their men of that culture? So the men of that culture allow for these women to feel safe enough and to feel comfortable enough to rest in their femininity and rest in their softness because of how they behave and how they act. Once again, black women, a lot of us from as early as we can remember, are conditioned to be strong, to be mature, to carry ourselves a certain way, to know better. While with black men and men in general, but I'm just going to talk about our community, they're not conditioned that way. Boys will be boys. Boys take longer to develop. It's so many excuses and cushion. And this is why when we jump ahead, and I'm 25 and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, the average 25-year-old black male doesn't know what accountability is, doesn't know what introspection is, and doesn't know what it is to lead because they've been conditioned to do the opposite, while the women have been conditioned to take charge. And this is why you'll see more and more black women going outside of the black community to achieve chivalry and to achieve hypergamy or be in relationships where it's a power couple. I'm making $150,000, he's making $150,000 or $200,000 or whatever the case may be, because we're not getting that within our communities. And then the men who can match our flies, they don't find us fly. They don't. And it just is what it is. It's not all, but we just know what it is. All in all, I thought the conversation, I didn't think it was a waste. I really didn't think it was a waste. I enjoyed TONYA TKO's points that she presented. I enjoyed the statistics that she presented. You know, she talked about there are about, I think, what she said, 40 million black people in America, and there are 2 million less black men than women. So there's not even a 1-to-1 ratio. So even if all black men were to date within their race, every black woman would not have access to a black man. And then she even broke it down further and talked about, you know, the brackets. Okay, so black men, you have black men that are incarcerated. You have black men that are uneducated and underpaid. You have black men who don't like women, they're homosexual. You have black men that are heterosexual and whatnot, but they may not like black women. And then you have black men who don't like women at all. You know, they have issues with the divine feminine, so they don't really take to women at all. They just have a disdain for them. And this is where your narcissistic, abusive men come in, because they just have some healing to do with the divine feminine and the feminine energy within them, because we all have that duality of masculinity and femininity. I do feel like that conversation highlighted some of the things that I've said on this channel about accountability. That man was not able to take any accountability. It was all, oh, you knew this nigga wasn't shit, so you had a baby with him, so if he leaves, it's your fault. So we're not going to hold the dude accountable who is abandoning his child that he helped to father. We're going to hold the woman accountable because what? She's a woman. She's supposed to know better. She's further developed intellectually and emotionally and spiritually. And she's supposed to make all these decisions. And to close this video out, somebody left a comment that is so true. Black men, in regards to being the creme de la creme of dating preferences for black women, we see that dwindling drastically. And the reality of the situation is, because it's this, for example, that woman that was on Kevin Samuel's show was told that she had unrealistic standards, right? So y'all are coming at her because she is admitting that she dates down. But when she comes on there and says she wants to find someone who is her equal, somebody who makes $150,000 like she does, her standards are unrealistic because y'all don't feel like she is aesthetically pleasing in the looks department. So where does that leave her? And this is a good point that was made by the YouTuber Chrissy. When it comes to these black male dating and life coaches, and they are so focused on telling women what to do and how they need to show up, they never give them all their options. You're basically telling these women how they need to show up and how they need to present based off of the standards of the collective of black men. You're not giving her options in regards, and that's because it's an assumption that black women are always going to be the bottom bitch for black men. So that's why there's no innate response to say, well, you may not be able to get a black man, but studies show that, you know, rich white men or men in this category, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? So those are some interesting points that I found. I felt like it was a good conversation because TONYA TKO, once again, she came with facts. It wasn't just mindless talking. And with the guy, I don't think he's a bad guy. I really don't. I just think that he's been conditioned to do exactly what he did on that panel, which is not take any accountability, not hold black men accountable, but shift all the blame and focus onto the black woman. So despite your actions, your inability to lead, your inability to protect, your inability to provide, your inability to step up and be a father, this comes back on me because I made a decision to be with you. And to a degree, I do, like I said, we always talk about accountability over here at Lovelee's. I have several videos where I'm talking about women, you know, getting in touch with their wombs, you know, strengthening their intuition, making sure your chakras are right. You know what I mean? Maybe your heart, you may have a blockage on your sacral chakra or your heart chakra, because yes, we are what we attract and allow to stick. Okay, you could be a high value, high vibrational woman and you will naturally attract things lower than you, because typically when you're on the bottom and you're trying to get to the top, you're going to latch onto things that you think will take you there. But if you allow this person to stick and you start building a home and a foundation and having kids with them, despite making six figures, being beautiful, being in shape, and being able to do all of these things, there has to be something off with inside of you to think that that's all that you deserve and that's who you should settle with. So I'm going to leave it right there. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this video. And if you would like to book your own spiritual advising session or intuitive session with me, please refer to the link pinned in the comments as well as the description box. And you could book. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Have a lovely day.